Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. So we're out here today doing another test with the DJI Mini 3 Pro. Yesterday there was a firmware update. Now that firmware update was just for the remote, and it actually includes some pretty important fixes. The main one I'm going to be testing today is the range issue that I've been having. Apparently that supposedly corrects it, so we're going to test that out today. But it also has a few other important updates as well. Let's go ahead here and we'll take a look at the release notes. You can see it's for the controller only. Now the first point there says it adds support to identify the speed of the SD card. So if you put a slow card into the controller, if you're doing screen recordings or anything like that, you're going to get a message up on the screen if it doesn't support it, if it's too slow. So that's a nice little upgrade. It also says it's fixed an issue where screen flickering appeared when previewing photos and videos in playback. And another important issue that it's fixed, some people were having problems with their whole system crashing when they're flying under certain circumstances. And then finally it says fix some minor bugs. Now the interesting thing there, it doesn't actually make any reference that the range issue has been fixed. But it's probably just bundled in with that bug fixes statement. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get everything fired up. We're going to test to make sure that it hasn't bumped back down into CE mode. That seems to be the problem, what has been happening to especially a lot of people in Canada. The drone starts in FCC mode, but then once it acquired satellites, it would kind of bump down in power to that CE mode. So anyways, we've got everything fired up here now, so let's wait for it to launch the Fly app, and then we'll check the satellites and see what's going on there. We have got 18 satellites. Our home point has been updated. So let's go over to our transmission here. And indeed, you can see there it is in the FCC mode. So let's just go for a little bit of a range test. Now, just some backstory here. This location I'm at right now with the Mini 3, I was getting a lot of signal interference, sometimes only at 200-300 meters. But the maximum I could fly up the river was 600 meters with the Mini 3 before I would get disconnected. And I should be able to get a lot farther. With my Mini 2, I could go for several kilometers and not lose any signal strength at all. So let's go ahead. We're going to get the drone up in the air here.
Take off. The home point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
So I'm going to put it up to 100 meters. Just the last test I did, I was at 100 meters, so we just want to keep things fair. So we're going to head in this direction to the downtown area. Okay, so we're at 100 meters now, and I'm going to put it into sport mode, just so this video doesn't take too long. And okay, let's just go and see what happens. So like I said, the maximum I could get before was 600 meters, just over. I think it was like 610 or 618, something like that. And that would come to a complete disconnect. So we're coming up to that 600 meters now. And so far we got a good signal strength, so that's looking good. And yeah, look at that. We are now over the maximum I could fly before, and we still have full 5 bars. So definitely it looks like that they have fixed the problem. Now I actually have a couple thoughts about that, so stick around till the end of the video because I'm a little bit confused at what's going on here. So we're now just coming up to a kilometer. And still full 5 bars, so indeed they have fixed the issue. Now we are getting a weak signal there, but if you watch my test yesterday, even the Mavic 3 gets a weak signal around this stage. So yeah, that looks really good. Indeed, they have corrected the problem. So anyways, let's head back to where we were. Now I don't know if the signal strength is still as good as my Mini 2. I still have a lot more testing to do, but you know, generally I'm pleased with that. As long as in a city I can get at least a kilometer before I start getting, you know, break up in the FPV, then I'm happy with that. Of course, if we were out in a rural area, this thing would probably fly for several kilometers without any issue at all. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to test to see if we can get this screen to lock up. Some people were experiencing that when they were doing things that were a little bit more CPU intensive. So let's start right about here. I'm going to select the screen, and what we're going to do is just a point of interest. We'll hit go, hit record, and we'll see what happens here. And like I said, I am doing a screen recording, and screen recordings take up a lot of the system resources, so you know, if things are going to go bad, it's usually when you're doing a screen recording on top of doing everything else. So, but so far so good. Everything seems to be running smoothly there. Maybe what we'll do is we'll just send it in the other direction here. I'm going to fly it in a little closer. Yep, but that seems to be working just fine. So let's go ahead, we're going to stop that. Now at this point, we're just going to use the spotlight feature. And we'll test that out as well. Yeah, that looks like there's no issues. So now what we're going to do is take a panel, because that can be a little bit CPU intensive as it tries to stitch everything together. So let's do a 180. And yeah, let's see what it does. And there we go there, you can see it's stitching. And so far, no lockups. That's a good thing. So it's all done here. Let's go in and we'll take a quick look at it. There we go there. So now what I'm going to do here is do a quick hyperlapse, and I'm not going to film the whole thing. I just want to make sure that the system isn't going to lock up. So let's go ahead here. We'll select a subject, and we'll just leave everything the way it is. And we'll hit go. So yeah, looks like everything's working there just fine. I'm going to go ahead and stop that. Now at this point, I'm just going to fly around. I got 66% battery left. I'm just going to fly around, test it out, see if I find any other bugs in this software update, and then I'll be back with a final thought. Okay, so we are getting down to about 30% battery power, so I am going to head home. I've been flying it around and I haven't found anything abnormal, so that's a good thing with a firmware update. Now some people have reported that their compass down there hasn't been functioning correctly after the firmware update, but I've been testing it out in the different modes, and everything seems to be working right on my end. So that could be just some isolated incidences. I don't know really what to say about that, but I'm going to definitely test that out some more later today. But other than that, the range issue does appear to be fixed. Now I do find that very curious, because it was an update for the controller only. There was no firmware for the drone. But what I find weird about that is when I was doing my range testing with the RCN1 versus the DJI RC, I had the same issue on both. So that led me to believe that the firmware on the drone needed to be updated, not just the controller. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but it does appear to be fixed. I don't think my range is as good as the Mini 2 still. But I am going to do some more testing out in the rural area in the next couple days, and I'll definitely report back on that as well. Anyways, folks, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and found it had value. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And we'll see you in the next one.